The millionaire laughed when he saw the skinny boy approach the most feared horse on the ranch. No one believed that hungry kid would last even 5 seconds. But when the timer passed 30 seconds and the horse stopped fighting, the boy did something unexpected and silence fell over everyone, as if someone had finally been recognized. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and comment where you're watching from, because now I'm going to tell you everything. The kitchen was quiet, except for the sound of rain on the roof. Sam Tucker rolled his shirt sleeves up, 3 exact folds on each arm. He placed a bowl of thin soup in front of his father. "Eat up, Dad." Walter Tucker looked at the bowl, then out the window at the muddy, empty fields. "You have it, Sam. I'm not hungry." "You need to eat," Sam said, his voice soft but firm. "What I need," Walter said, his hands resting on his sore back, "is to be able to work my own land. What I need is to not see my boy becoming a man too fast because I can't do my part." Sam sat down. "I'm doing my part. It's okay." "No, it's not." Walter pointed a finger at a letter on the table. "The bank says it's not okay. They want money we don't have. This farm, this land my grandfather planted. It's going to be gone by summer." Sam looked at the letter. The words were sharp and final. He had read it 5 times. He felt a heavy knot in his stomach every time. "I'll get more work in town," Sam said. "The odd jobs you get are not enough, son. They were never enough. I don't know what we need. A miracle." Sam's little sister Lily came in, her shoes muddy. "The henhouse roof is leaking again, Sam." "I'll fix it after dinner," he said. Their mother, Clara, stirred the pot on the stove. There was not much left in it. Her silence was worse than words. It was full of worry. Later, in the dusty town library, Sam looked for books about fixing tractor engines. Maybe he could learn and save them a repair bill. He was tired. The walk into town was long. As he pulled a book from the shelf, an old newspaper fell to the floor. He picked it up to put it back. A headline caught his eye. "Montana Rancher's Wild Offer, $25,000 for a 30-second ride." Sam's heart beat faster. He sat down and read the article. It told of a man named John Sterling, a rich rancher in Montana. He had a horse no one could ride, a horse named Fury. The rancher promised a huge prize, $25,000, to anyone who could stay on the horse's back for just 30 seconds. Rodeo champions had tried. Strong men from all over had tried. All of them failed. The contest was in 2 weeks. Sam read the number again, $25,000. It was more money than his family had seen in 5 years. It was enough to pay the bank, enough to fix the roof, enough for the doctor visits his dad needed. It was everything. He folded the newspaper page and put it in his pocket. The walk home felt different. The knot in his stomach was still there, but now it was mixed with a wild, scary hope. That night, after fixing the henhouse, he stood in the small living room. His parents were listening to the radio. "I found a way," Sam said. The words sounded strange in the quiet room. Walter turned the radio down. "A way for what?" "A way to get the money. For the bank. For everything." He told them about the newspaper, about Montana, about the horse named Fury and the 30-second ride. He did not tell them how dangerous it sounded. He just showed them the number, $25,000. His mother's hand went to her mouth. "Sam, no. That sounds... People get hurt doing things like that." "People are getting hurt here, Mom," Sam said, his voice barely above a whisper. "We're losing everything. Dad's in pain every day. This is a chance, one chance." Walter looked old and tired in his chair. "You're a good rider, Sam, on our old mare. But this is a wild animal. Professional men are failing." "I know," Sam said. He met his father's eyes. "But I have to try. What else is there?" The question hung in the air. There was no other answer. There were no more jobs, no more time. Clara began to cry quietly. Walter looked down at his hands, the hands that could no longer grip a plow. "How would you get there?" Walter asked. "I'll take the bus. I have a little money saved from the last job. It's enough for a ticket to Montana." "And if you lose?" his father said. Sam had already thought about this. "Then I come home, and we're no worse off than we are right now." But they all knew that was not true. They would be worse off. They would have lost their hope. After a long silence, Walter nodded, just once. It was not approval. It was surrender to a bad reality. Sam went to his room. He had a small bag. He put in 2 shirts, his old leather chaps, and a spare pair of socks. He took the newspaper page from his pocket and looked at the words again. Asterisk Big Sky Ranch, Montana. He was just a skinny kid from a failing Oklahoma farm. He had never been on a plane. He had never seen a mountain. He had never tried to ride a horse that wanted to kill him. But he knew how to hold on. He had been holding on for 2 years, holding on to a farm, holding on to hope for his family. For 30 seconds, he could hold on to a horse. He put the paper in his bag. Tomorrow, he would take the bus west. The bus ride took 3 days. Sam slept in his seat, his bag on his lap. He watched Oklahoma turn into Kansas, then Kansas into the wide, empty stretches of Wyoming, and finally into Montana. He saw real mountains for the first time, huge and purple in the distance. They didn't look real. He got off the bus in a small town and walked 5 miles with his bag to the address in the newspaper. The sign at the gate said Big Sky Ranch. The road leading in was long, lined with wooden fences. There were more cars and trucks than Sam had ever seen in one place, parked in a field. In the distance, he saw a big crowd of people. He heard a buzzer, then a loud groan from the crowd. He walked faster, his old boots kicking up dust. He made it to the edge of the crowd just as 2 men were helping a tall cowboy limp out of a dusty pen. The man's hat was gone and his face was pale. "Didn't even last 5 seconds," someone in the crowd yelled. A big man with a silver mustache stood by the fence. This was Buck Sterling. Sam knew it from the newspaper picture. Buck spat on the ground and shook his head. "Who's next?" Buck's voice was a low rumble. "Or are we done for the day?" A man in a shiny rodeo shirt stepped forward. "I'll take your money, old man." Buck just nodded toward the pen. "He's all yours." On the other side of the fence was the horse. Fury. Sam's breath caught. The horse was not just big. He was power made of muscle and dark, shiny brown hair. He stood in the middle of the pen, his sides heaving, his eyes showing white. He was beautiful and terrifying. The rodeo man climbed onto the fence, then onto the horse's back. He grabbed the rope tied around Fury's middle. He nodded. "Time!" Buck yelled. The world exploded. Fury didn't just buck. He twisted in the air. He kicked his back legs so high they seemed to touch the sky. The man held on for a moment, his face a mask of pure surprise. Then he was flying through the air. He landed in the dirt with a heavy thud. The crowd gasped. The buzzer sounded. A man with a stopwatch called out, 4 seconds. The rodeo man didn't get up right away. Buck didn't smile. He looked tired. "Anyone else?" he asked the crowd. "Or have you all seen enough?" Sam's heart was pounding in his ears. He saw his father's tired face. He saw the bank letter. He felt the weight of the last 2 years. This was it. He moved. He walked along the edge of the fence toward the gate. People stepped aside, looking at his faded clothes, his thin frame. Buck was turning to leave when Sam spoke. "I'll try." Buck stopped. He looked over and saw Sam. His blue eyes moved from Sam's worn-out boots up to his serious face. "You'll what?" Buck said. "I'll try to ride him," Sam said. His voice was quiet, but it didn't shake. A few people near them heard. A snicker went through the crowd. Buck walked closer, his eyes sharp. "How old are you, kid?" 17. Buck let out a short, hard laugh. 17. You see that horse? That horse has put grown men in the hospital today. "I see him," Sam said. "You from around here?" "Oklahoma." "Oklahoma," Buck repeated. He looked at the crowd, then back at Sam. He was clearly deciding whether this was an insult or just sad. "You got $25 for the entry fee?" Sam's stomach dropped. The newspaper didn't say anything about a fee. He had exactly $12 left in the world. It was for his bus ticket home. He looked at the ground. "No, sir." The crowd's laughter was louder now. It was a mean sound. Buck stared at him for a long time. He saw the old chap's, the desperate hope in the boy's eyes. He sighed, a long, tired sound. "Tell you what," Buck said, his voice loud so the crowd could hear. "You make me laugh, kid, so your entry fee is free. You get on that horse. You last 30 seconds, you get the prize. You get hurt, don't come crying to me." Buck waved a hand toward the pen. The crowd whooped, smelling a good show. Sam opened the gate and stepped into the pen. The dust was thick. Fury saw him and snorted, pawing at the dirt. Up close, the horse was even bigger. Sam felt very small. He didn't climb the fence. He walked slowly toward the horse, not looking directly into its wild eyes. He put a hand on the hot, twitching neck. Fury jerked away, but Sam kept his hand there, just for a second. "Easy," Sam whispered, so low no one else could hear. He took the rope. He put a foot in the stirrup. He pulled himself up. Fury went perfectly still, as if shocked that someone so small would dare. Sam settled on his back. He rolled his sleeves, 3 folds on each arm. He took a deep breath. He nodded. Buck was watching, his arms crossed. He nodded to the man with the stopwatch. "Time!" Fury erupted. It was like being in the middle of an earthquake. Sam's world became a blur of sky and dirt. The force was unbelievable. It felt like his bones were being shaken apart. The crowd's noise vanished. All he could hear was the furious snorting of the horse and the pounding of his own heart. He didn't try to fight the motion. He squeezed with his legs, held the rope with one hand, and let his body go loose, bending like a reed in the storm. Fury spun, twisted, leaped. Sam slid sideways, then pulled himself back. His teeth rattled in his head. Somewhere, he heard a distant voice yell, "10 seconds!" The horse's anger was endless. Sam's muscles screamed in pain. His grip was slipping. He thought of his mother's face. He thought of his father's hands. He held on. 20 seconds. The air was knocked from his lungs. He couldn't breathe. Spots danced in his vision. Asterisk, just a little longer. Fury made one last huge leap, all 4 feet off the ground. When they landed, Sam almost flew over the horse's head. He clung on, his fingers numb. A loud buzzer cut through the air. 30 seconds! Time! Sam had won. The crowd erupted into shock and cheers. But Sam didn't move. He couldn't. He was shaking all over. Fury was still heaving beneath him, still tense and angry. The ride was over, but the horse didn't know it. Sam, without thinking, leaned forward slowly. He put his face close to the horse's slick, sweaty neck. He was whispering something. The whispers were lost in the sweat and heat of the horse's neck. Sam didn't even know what he was saying. "Easy. It's over. Just breathe. Easy now." His voice was a shaky murmur, more breath than sound. Fury shuddered. He took one more frantic step sideways, his head high. Sam kept his hand moving in slow circles on the horse's damp coat. He kept whispering. Then, something changed. The great muscles under Sam's legs stopped tightening. The horse's head lowered, just an inch. A long, trembling sigh escaped Fury's nostrils. He stood still. The ranch was completely silent. The crowd had stopped cheering. They stared. No one had ever seen Fury stand still after a ride. They had only ever seen him trying to crush his rider into the dirt. Buck Sterling didn't move. He stood by the fence, his hands gripping the wood. He watched the skinny kid from Oklahoma lean over the neck of the most dangerous horse he'd ever owned. He saw the boy's gentle hand. He heard the absolute quiet. One of the ranch hands finally moved to open the gate. Sam slowly, carefully slid from Fury's back. His legs almost gave way when they touched the ground. He held onto the rope, keeping contact. Fury turned his head and looked at Sam. His eyes were still wide, but the wild panic was gone, replaced by a deep, tired confusion. Sam took a step toward the gate, pulling the rope lightly. Fury took a step with him. A murmur went through the crowd. They were leading him out. The horse wasn't trying to run or bite. He was following. Buck stepped forward as Sam and Fury exited the pen. He looked from the boy to the horse and back again. His gruff voice, when he finally spoke, was quieter than before. "What's your name, son?" "Sam Tucker, sir." "You got him to quiet down," Buck said. "It wasn't a question. He was scared," Sam said. He was still shaking from the ride, his words coming out in short breaths. He wasn't mad. He was scared. Buck studied Sam's face for a long moment. He saw the honesty there, and a kind of tired understanding he hadn't seen in any of the other riders. He nodded once, a decision made. "Come with me." Buck turned and walked toward the big ranch house. Sam, still holding Fury's rope, hesitated. A man in a clean shirt stepped up. "I'll take him, kid. Get your prize." Sam handed over the rope. As the man led Fury away, the horse looked back at Sam once before being led toward the stables. Inside Buck's office, the wood was dark and the air smelled like leather. Buck went to a heavy safe, worked the combination, and pulled out a thick envelope. He placed it on the desk. $25,000. Count it if you want. Sam looked at the envelope. It was the answer to every problem. It was his family's future on a desk. "I trust you, sir." "Where are you staying tonight?" Buck asked, not picking up the envelope yet. "My bus back to Oklahoma leaves in the morning. I'll find a place in town." "You got family in Oklahoma?" "Yes, sir. My mom, my dad, and my little sister. The money. It's for them. Our farm is—" Sam trailed off, not wanting to spill his whole sad story. Buck leaned against his desk. "What does your dad do?" "He was a farmer. He got hurt. He can't work the land anymore." Buck was silent again. He looked out the window toward the stables. "You good with horses? I mean, besides not getting killed by them." "I've been around them all my life, sir. I like the work." Buck turned back. "I'll give you that envelope, but I'm making another offer. A job, right here on this ranch. Good pay. And there's an empty house, the old foreman's place. It's small, but it's solid. It's for your whole family. Your dad could do light work if he wants. Your family could live here." Sam's mind went blank. The money was one thing. This was something else entirely. A home, a job, safety. It was too much to understand. "I don't understand," Sam whispered. "I've been looking for a good hand who understands horses from the inside out, not just from the other end of a whip," Buck said, his voice rough. "I saw what you did out there. That's a rare thing. I want that here. So what do you say? You want to be a ranch hand at Big Sky?" Sam's throat felt tight. He thought of his father's pain, his mother's worry, his sister's leaking roof. He looked at Buck's steady blue eyes. "Yes, sir," Sam said, the words full of emotion. "I do. Thank you." "Good," Buck said. He finally pushed the envelope across the desk. "First month's advance. Now you go call your family. The phone's in the hall. Tell them to pack. We'll send help to get them moved." Sam took the envelope. It felt heavy and real in his hands. He walked into the hallway where an old black telephone sat on a small table. His fingers trembled as he dialed the operator and asked for the number of his neighbor, Mrs. Clark. After a minute, he heard his mother's worried voice. "Hello? Mom? It's Sam. Sam, are you all right? What happened?" "I'm okay, Mom. I'm more than okay." He took a deep breath. "I won. I have the money, but I also have a job and a house for all of us in Montana." There was a long silence on the line. He could hear her crying softly. "Sam, is this real?" "It's real, Mom. A man named Buck Sterling. He owns the ranch. He offered us a home. You, Dad, and Lily. You need to pack. We're going to live in Montana." He heard his mother call out to his father, her voice breaking with joy. He heard his little sister Lily shout. A smile spread across Sam's face, a real smile, for the first time in years. He hung up the phone and walked back onto the porch. The sun was starting to go down over the mountains, painting the sky in colors of orange and purple. The land of Big Sky Ranch stretched out before him, vast and green and full of promise. He wasn't just leaving with prize money. He was arriving with a future. The Tucker family's old truck rattled up the dirt road to Big Sky Ranch 2 weeks later. Sam watched from the porch of the small white house. He had spent days cleaning it, making it ready. The truck stopped. His little sister Lily was the first one out, her eyes huge. "Sam, this is all ours," she shouted, running toward the house. Clara Tucker stepped out next, her hand over her mouth. She looked at the neat house, the green pasture, the mountains in the distance. Walter got out slowly, careful of his back. He didn't say anything. He just looked. Sam walked down to meet them. "It's real," he said, answering the question in all their eyes. "It's a proper house," Clara said, her voice full of wonder, "with a solid roof." Walter put a hand on Sam's shoulder. The grip was strong. "You did this, son." Inside, the house was simple but clean. There were real beds, a working stove, and a view of the barn from the kitchen window. Lily claimed her room with a shout. That evening, Buck Sterling came to the door. He brought a pot of stew. "Welcome to Big Sky," he said to Clara and Walter. He shook Walter's hand firmly. "Sam tells me you know your way around a tool bench. We can always use a man who can fix things, no heavy lifting required. Walter stood a little taller. I can fix most anything, Mr. Sterling. Call me Buck, and you start when you're ready. Later, after his family had gone to sleep in their new home, Sam sat on the porch steps. The sky was full of more stars than he had ever seen. Buck walked over from the big house, 2 mugs in his hand. He handed one to Sam. It was hot, sweet coffee. Tomorrow you start for real, Buck said. Sun up. The horses don't sleep in. Yes, sir, Sam said. Your main job is Fury, Buck said, looking toward the stables. No one else goes near him. He's yours to care for. You feed him, you clean his stall, you work with him. I want to see what you two can become. Sam felt a surge of pride so sharp it hurt. I won't let you down. I know you won't, Buck said. Then he stood and went back to the big house. The next morning, Sam was at the stables before the sun was fully up. The air was cool and smelled of hay and horses. He found Fury's stall. The horse was at the back, ears pinned, watching him. Morning, Sam said quietly. He moved slowly. He filled the water bucket first, the sound of the splash loud in the quiet barn. He forked fresh hay into the stall. Fury didn't come forward. Sam didn't try to make him. He just did his work, talking in a soft, steady stream about nothing, about the cool morning, about his sister liking her new room. After the chores were done, Sam didn't leave. He sat on an upturned bucket just outside the stall, sipping his coffee. He just sat, letting Fury get used to his presence. He didn't try to touch him. He didn't even look at him directly for a long time. This became their routine. Every day, Sam would care for the horse in silence. Then he would just sit nearby. After a week, Fury began to eat his hay while Sam was still in the stall. After 2 weeks, the horse's ears stopped lying flat when Sam entered. One afternoon, Buck leaned on the stall door, watching Sam muck out the bedding. You're more patient than any man I've ever known, Buck said. He's learning I won't hurt him, Sam said, not stopping his work. You're learning he won't hurt you either, Buck said. That's the real lesson. A few days later, Sam held out a flat hand with an apple slice on his palm. He held his breath. Fury stretched his neck, his nostrils flaring. He sniffed the apple, then took it with soft lips. Sam felt the warm breath on his skin. It was the first time Fury had taken anything from him. That's it, Sam whispered. Just you and me. Buck started to teach Sam other things. How to check a horse's hooves for stones, how to mend a bridle, how to read the weather in the clouds. They would ride the fences together, Buck pointing out landmarks. Sam listened to every word, storing it all away. It felt like he was drinking from a well after years in a desert. One evening, after a long day of helping brand new calves, Clara had cooked a big dinner. The table in the small house was full of food and laughter. Walter told a story from his own farming days, and Lily giggled. Sam stood up. I should go check on Fury, make sure he's settled for the night. Clara's smile faded a little. Can it wait, Sam? Sit. Eat with your family. He's my job, Mom, Sam said. He felt a tug inside him. The warm house, the happy faces, or the dark barn where his duty was. The need to earn his place pulled him toward the barn. I won't be long. He walked out into the cool night. From the shadows near the big house, a man watched him go. It was Asa Sterling. He had been watching the cozy scene in the Tuckers' window with a cold feeling in his chest. He saw Sam choose the horse over his family, and he didn't see dedication. He saw a threat working harder than he ever had. Asa took a slow sip from his own coffee, his eyes narrowed. He turned and walked back into the big house, where the rooms were too quiet and too empty. Asa Sterling watched Sam walk to the barn every night. He watched from the window of the big house, a bitter taste in his mouth. The house was too quiet. It felt like a museum, not a home. His Uncle Buck was never in it anymore. He was always at the Tuckers' house for dinner, or out with Sam on the land. Asa brushed a piece of lint from his expensive shirt. He walked out onto the porch just as one of the older ranch hands, Lou, was walking by. Evening, Lou, Asa said, his voice smooth. Evening, Asa. Another long day babysitting the new kid, I see, Asa said, leaning on the railing. Lou stopped. Sam? He don't need babysitting. That boy works harder than any 2 hands, and he's got away with that crazy horse. That's the problem, Asa said, his smile not reaching his eyes. Everyone's so amazed by the kid with a way. He's just lucky. He held on for 30 seconds. That doesn't make him a rancher. Lou shifted his weight. Buck seems to think it does. Buck's getting sentimental, Asa said, waving a hand. He sees a sad story and a skinny kid and he forgets what this place is about. It's about strength, not whispering to animals. Lou didn't say anything. He just nodded and walked away, his steps hurried. The next morning, Asa found Buck in the office going over accounts. He put on his best, most concerned face. "Uncle Buck, can I talk to you for a second?" Buck looked up. "Make it quick. I'm meeting Sam to check the north fence line." "That's what I wanted to talk about," Asa said, sitting down without being asked. "The men, they're talking." "Talking about what?" "About Sam. About how he gets all the special jobs, the easy jobs. They see him spending all day with one horse while they're doing the real work. It's causing some bad feelings." Buck leaned back in his chair, his eyes steady on his nephew. "Sam's job with Fury is the farthest thing from easy. And he does his share of the real work." "Who's saying this?" "Oh, you know," Asa said, looking at his clean nails. "Just talk. I hear things. I just worry about the morale. This was a tight crew before. Now it feels like there's a favorite." Buck was silent for a long moment. "My crew knows I'm fair. If they have a problem, they can come to me." "Of course," Asa said quickly, standing up. "I just thought you should know what's being said. I care about this ranch, you know. I always have." Later that day, Asa saw his chance. Sam was carrying 2 heavy sacks of grain from the storage shed to the feed barn. His arms were straining with the weight. Asa was leaning against the corral fence, talking to a younger hand named Ricky. "See that?" Asa said, nodding towards Sam. "Kid's trying too hard, showing off. Thinks he has to prove something every single minute." Ricky watched Sam struggle. "Looks like hard work to me." "It's inefficient," Asa scoffed. "A grown man would use the wheelbarrow. He's making a show of it, trying to make the rest of us look bad." Sam passed by them, his focus on not dropping the sacks. He didn't notice the 2 men talking. When Sam was out of earshot, Asa lowered his voice. "Keep an eye on him, Ricky. Kid from nowhere gets everything handed to him. People like that, they usually have secrets. They usually take things that aren't theirs." Ricky looked confused. "Sam? You seem straight as an arrow." "Just keep your eyes open," Asa said, clapping Ricky on the shoulder with a fake smile. "For the good of the ranch." That evening, Asa joined Buck for dinner in the big empty dining room. The cook had made a steak. Asa cut into his meat. "So, did you and the Wonder Kid fix the whole north fence today?" Asa asked. "We did," Buck said, his tone flat. "He learns fast." "He should. He's getting a private tutorial from the best," Asa said. He took a sip of water. "It's just a big change, you know? This place used to be about family. Now it feels like we're running a charity for every hard luck case that wanders in." Buck put his fork down. "The Tucker family are not a charity case. Walter fixes every piece of equipment that breaks. Sam is one of the best natural horsemen I've ever seen. They've earned their place." "Of course," Asa said, holding up his hands in fake surrender. "I just miss how things were, before, when it was just us Sterlings." Buck looked at his nephew, really looked at him. He saw the polished shirt, the soft hands, the entitled gleam in his eye. He thought of Sam's rolled-up sleeves and quiet determination. "Things change, Asa," Buck said finally. "A ranch either grows or it dies. This one's growing." After dinner, Asa stood on the porch smoking a cigarette. He watched the light in the Tucker family's small house. He could see them moving around inside, a picture of happiness. He saw Sam come out and sit on the steps, looking at the stars. The kid looked peaceful. He looked like he belonged. Asa crushed the cigarette under his heel. The bitter feeling in his chest hardened into a plan. This wasn't his uncle's ranch anymore. It was being stolen, piece by piece, by a poor kid from Oklahoma. And Asa was not going to stand by and watch it happen. He needed to show Buck who Sam really was. A liar, a thief, a problem. He just needed the right opportunity to make it clear to everyone. The opportunity came 3 days later. Buck kept a set of expensive, custom-made saddle tools in the main barn. They were kept in a locked box, but the lock was simple. Asa watched Sam leave Fury's stall and head toward the house for lunch. The barn was empty. He moved quickly. He used a small piece of wire to open the lock. He took 2 of the shiniest tools, a hoof pick and a curved knife for trimming leather. He slipped them into the deep pocket of his jacket. Then he walked to the small shed behind the Tucker family's house. The door was never locked. He slid the tools under a pile of old horse blankets in the corner. He smiled, brushed his hands off, and went to find his uncle. He found Buck in the horse corral, looking at a mare's leg. "Uncle Buck, you got a minute?" "What is it, Asa?" "It's probably nothing," Asa said, shrugging. "But I couldn't find the good hoof pick this morning, the one from your special set. I asked around. Ricky said he saw Sam Tucker coming out of the main barn late last night, looking like he was carrying something." Buck stood up straight. "Sam was doing his evening checks. He always does." "Right, of course," Asa said. "But then I heard something else. My new belt knife, the silver one, it's gone from my room. I'm not saying Sam took it, I'm just saying things go missing when new people come around. People with less." Buck's face grew still. "Are you accusing Sam of stealing?" "I'm not accusing anyone," Asa held up his hands. "I'm just telling you what's happening. Check your toolbox, see if anything is gone." Buck walked to the main barn, his steps heavy. Asa followed. Buck opened the toolbox. He counted the pieces. His jaw tightened. "The hoof pick and the stitching knife are missing," Buck said, his voice low. "See?" Asa said, trying to sound sad. "I didn't want to believe it." "I'll talk to him," Buck said. They found Sam coming back from the house, ready for afternoon chores. Buck's expression stopped him. "Sam, a question," Buck said. "My toolbox in the main barn. 2 tools are missing. Do you know anything about that?" Sam looked confused. "No, sir. I haven't used any tools from there. I have my own basic set." "What about a small silver belt knife?" Asa asked casually. "Seen anything like that lying around?" Sam looked at Asa, then back at Buck. He saw the doubt on Buck's face. A cold feeling settled in his stomach. "No, I haven't." "Would you mind if we took a look in your shed?" Buck asked. It wasn't really a question. Sam's face went pale. He nodded. "Okay." They walked to the small shed. Sam's father, Walter, came out of the house, wiping his hands on a rag. "Something wrong?" "Just checking on something, Walter," Buck said, his tone leaving no room for discussion. Buck went into the shed. Sam stood outside with Asa and his father. He felt everyone's eyes on him. Buck moved some buckets, looked on a shelf, then he bent down and lifted a pile of old blankets. He went still. He stood up and walked out. In his hands were the shiny hoof pick and the leather knife. Walter gasped. "Sam, what is that?" "I don't know," Sam said, his eyes wide with panic. "I've never seen those before. I swear, Buck." Buck looked at the tools, then at Sam's desperate face. The doubt was a physical pain in his chest. "They were under your blanket, Sam." "I didn't put them there. Why would I? You've given me everything." Asa shook his head, a look of fake disappointment on his face. "Maybe old habits are hard to break, kid. Times get tough, you just take." "I have never stolen anything in my life," Sam's voice broke. Buck took a deep breath. He believed in evidence. The evidence was in his hand. "Just get back to your work, Sam. We'll talk about this later." Buck walked away, the tools clenched tight. Asa gave Sam a small, cold smile before following his uncle. Walter put a hand on Sam's shoulder. "Son, I didn't do it, Dad," Sam whispered, his voice hollow. "He thinks I did it." A week passed. Buck was distant. He didn't ask Sam to ride the fences with him. Sam did his work in a fog of silence, only feeling normal when he was with Fury. He brushed the horse for a long time, his hands shaking. "Someone put them there, Fury," he whispered. "Someone wants me gone." One afternoon, Sam was tasked with moving the herd from the west pasture to the closer north field. It was a big job. Asa volunteered to help by opening the main gate for him once the horses were close. Sam and 2 other hands spent hours guiding the horses across the ranch. As they neared the north field, Sam saw Asa at the main gate. Asa waved, swung the big gate open, and then walked quickly toward the barn, saying he had to get something. Sam and the hands pushed the horses through the open gate into the new field. Sam was the last one through. He turned and looked at the heavy iron gate. He made sure the latch clicked firmly shut. He tested it with his hand. It was secure. He saw one of the other hands, Mike, watching him. "All secure, Mike," Sam called out. Mike nodded. "Good job, kid." The next morning, chaos. Buck's shout woke the ranch. Sam ran out of his house to see Buck standing by the north field. The main gate was wide open, The field was empty. 40 horses, including Fury, were gone. Buck's face was red with anger. He turned as Sam and the other hands ran up. "The gate was left open," Buck roared. "Who was the last one through last night?" All eyes turned to Sam. His blood ran cold. "I was, but I closed it. I latched it tight. Mike saw me." Mike looked at the ground, uncomfortable. "I saw you touch it, Sam. I didn't stay to watch you walk away. I don't know if it was fully latched." "It was," Sam insisted. Asa came walking up, yawning as if he just woke up. "What's all the yelling?" "Oh no, the horses." He looked at the open gate, then at Sam. A look of fake shock spread across his face. "Sam, you were so tired last night. You must have just forgotten." "I didn't forget." Sam felt the world tilting. Buck looked from the open gate to Sam's desperate face, to the missing horses. His voice was cold and tired. "We'll find the horses. Sam, you're with me. The rest of you, fan out. Now." As they rode out, Buck didn't speak to Sam. The silence was worse than shouting. Sam felt the trust, the new life he had built, crumbling like dry dirt in his hands. It took most of the day to find all the horses. They had scattered across the lower valley. Sam worked in silence, his guilt a heavy blanket even though he knew he had closed the gate. Every time he brought another horse back, he avoided Buck's eyes. Finally, only Fury was missing. Sam found him last, standing alone near a creek, apart from the others. The horse trotted towards Sam when he called, as if confused by the whole event. Leading him back, Sam felt no relief. That evening, Buck called Sam into the office. The room felt colder than before. "Sit down, Sam." Sam sat. He watched Buck lean on the desk, his face tired. "Two things are gone, and then a gate is left open," Buck said, his voice flat. "You tell me what I'm supposed to think." "I didn't take the tools, and I closed the gate," Sam said. The words felt useless. "Mike said he didn't see you latch it." "He didn't see me not latch it either," Sam said, a hint of desperation in his voice. "Why would I leave it open? Fury was out there. He's my responsibility." Buck looked out the window. "I want to believe you, Sam, but things don't just disappear. Gates don't just open." "Someone could have opened it after I left," Sam said quietly. "Who and why?" Buck asked, turning back to him. Sam thought of Asa's cold smile, but saying it out loud sounded like a weak excuse, like he was blaming someone else to save himself. He stayed silent. Buck sighed. "Just be more careful. From now on, I want 2 people to check every gate. You're one of them. Understood?" "Yes, sir." Sam left the office. The understood felt like a verdict. He wasn't trusted. The next days were gray. Sam did his work, but Buck no longer asked for his help with special tasks. He didn't invite him to check fences or talk about the land. When they passed each other, Buck would give a short nod, nothing more. Sam ate dinner with his family, pushing food around his plate. "You're quiet, son," Walter said. "Just tired," Sam replied. Clara reached over and put her hand on his. "Buck will come around. He's a fair man. He just needs time." Sam just nodded. He didn't tell them how much it hurt. He didn't want them to worry. They were safe and happy here. That was what mattered. He could bear the quiet suspicion if it meant they kept their home. The only place he felt peace was in Fury's stall. One evening he sat on his bucket, his forehead resting against the horse's side. Fury stood still, chewing his hay. "Should have known it was too good," Sam whispered to the horse. "Just like home. Everything good gets broken. Can't fix it. Just have to outlast it." Fury swished his tail as if swatting the words away. Asa, however, was everywhere. He was always nearby, talking to the other hands. Sam would walk into the feed barn and the conversation would stop. He'd see Asa laughing with a group of men, and they would all look at Sam and then look away. One afternoon, Sam was fixing a hinge on a stall door. Asa leaned against the opposite post, watching him. "Need any tools?" Asa asked, his voice smooth. "Oh, wait. You probably have your own stash by now." Sam kept working, turning a screwdriver. He didn't answer. "It's a shame," Asa continued. "My uncle took a chance on you. And now look, everyone's watching their stuff. It makes the whole place feel dirty." Sam's hand tightened on the screwdriver. He finally looked up. "I didn't take anything." Asa shrugged, a smug smile on his face. That's what they all say, right up until they're caught. He pushed off the post and walked away, whistling. That night, a cold wind started to blow. It moaned around the corners of the house. Sam lay in bed, listening to it. He felt more alone than he ever had in Oklahoma. There, the problems were clear. No money, a failing farm. Here, the problem was invisible. It was the loss of trust. It was the feeling that his new world, his family's safe place, was slipping away because of lies he couldn't prove. He got up and pulled on his boots. He walked through the dark to the barn. The wind was stronger now, carrying the smell of wet earth. A storm was coming. He went to Fury's stall. The horse was awake, ears twitching at the sound of the wind. Sam didn't turn on the light. He just stood with him in the dark. "I don't know what to do," Sam confessed to the shadowy shape of the horse. "If I fight, I look guilty. If I say nothing, I am guilty. He doesn't believe me anymore." Fury nudged Sam's shoulder with his nose, a simple, solid touch. Outside, the wind grew louder. It sounded like the sky was tearing apart. The first drops of rain began to hit the barn roof, a slow, heavy tapping that promised much more to come. The tapping on the roof became a hammering, then a roar. The wind screamed through the cracks in the barn walls. Fury stamped his foot, his eyes wide. A tremendous crack split the air, louder than thunder. It was the sound of breaking wood. Sam ran to the barn door and looked out. The night was a chaos of black rain and howling wind. A flash of lightning lit the sky for a second. He saw it. A huge old pine tree near the north pasture had split. It had fallen across the fence, smashing it flat. The horses in that pasture were screaming in terror. As the lightning flashed again, Sam saw dark shapes bolting through the broken fence line, running blind into the storm. He ran toward the big house, the rain soaking him in seconds. He burst onto the porch just as Buck was throwing on a heavy coat. His face was grim. "The tree, the north fence is gone," Sam shouted over the wind. "I saw," Buck yelled back. "We need to get ahead of them before they hit the canyon road." He grabbed a flashlight and pushed past Sam into the storm. Asa appeared in the doorway of the house, dressed in dry clothes. He looked out at the pouring rain with disgust. "Don't just stand there," Buck barked at his nephew. "Get your gear. We need every hand." Asa didn't move. "Are you crazy? In this? You'll get killed. The horses will come back when the storm stops." Buck's face hardened. "They'll be scattered to hell or hit by a truck on the road by then. Move." "It's not worth it," Asa shouted back. "They're just animals. It's suicide to go out there." Buck stared at him, rain streaming down his face. The look of disbelief turned to pure disgust. He turned away from Asa and looked at Sam. "Are you coming?" "Yes, sir," Sam said immediately. They fought their way toward the corral to get horses. The mud was deep and slick. Another blast of wind hit them. Buck, rushing forward, slipped. His boot caught on a broken piece of fencing hidden in the mud. Sam heard a sickening snap and a grunt of pain. Buck went down hard. He tried to stand, but his leg gave way. He collapsed back into the mud, his face white. "Buck!" Sam knelt beside him. Legs busted, Buck gasped through clenched teeth. He pointed a shaking finger toward the darkness where the horses had fled. "The horses, Sam, you have to go. You have to turn them back." Sam looked from Buck's pained face out into the terrifying blackness. The responsibility felt like a physical weight. "Don't look at me," Asa yelled from the porch. "This is his mess. His horse is the troublemaker. Let him fix it." Buck ignored Asa, his eyes locked on Sam. "Can you do it? Can you bring them home?" Sam looked at the old rancher lying helpless in the mud. He looked at the warm, dry house where Asa stood. He thought of Fury out there, scared and alone. He thought of all the horses. He rolled his shirt sleeves, 3 folds on each arm, a habit for courage. "I can do it," Sam said. He helped Buck drag himself under the slight overhang of the tool shed, out of the worst of the rain. Then Sam turned and faced the storm. He got a horse from the barn, a steady older mare named Belle. He didn't take a flashlight. The lightning would have to be his guide. He swung up into the saddle. "Sam," Buck called out, his voice strained. "Find Fury first. The others will follow him." Sam nodded. He nudged Belle forward, and they moved into the swallowing darkness. The rain hit his face like needles. The wind tried to tear him from the saddle. He leaned low over Belle's neck and trusted her to find the way. He rode toward the broken fence. The gap was a jagged hole leading into nothing. Sam took a deep breath and rode through it. He was now outside the safety of the ranch, in the wild, storm-whipped night. Somewhere in that chaos were 40 horses, and one of them was his friend. The storm tried to swallow him whole. Sam could barely see Belle's ears in front of his face. He relied on the horse's instincts, letting her pick a path through the driving rain. Lightning flashed, turning the world into a frozen black and white picture. He saw shapes moving on a hill to his left. He turned Belle toward them. He found a group of 10 horses huddled together, shaking. He rode around them, his voice a calm chant against the wind. "Easy now. Easy. This way. Come on now." Slowly, they began to follow him. He led them back toward the broken fence, hoping they would remember the way to the barn. At the fence line, he turned Belle and went out again. He repeated this 3 times. Each trip into the dark felt longer and more dangerous. He found more small groups, lost and confused. He led each bunch back. His body was numb with cold and tiredness, but one horse was never in the groups. Fury was missing. Buck's words echoed in his head. Find Fury first. The others will follow him. Sam rode further out than before. The land sloped down toward a creek that was usually just a trickle. The lightning flashed. Sam's heart stopped. There, in the middle of the now swollen creek, was Fury. The horse was trapped up to his chest in thick black mud. He was struggling, but each movement sucked him deeper. His head was high, his eyes rolling white with terror. Sam slid off Belle and tied her to a sturdy bush. He walked to the edge of the rushing water. It was cold and fast. "Fury!" Sam called. The horse saw him and let out a panicked scream, thrashing again. "No! Stop! You have to stop!" Sam yelled, his voice raw. He stepped into the water. The current pulled at his legs. The mud on the bottom tried to grab his boots. He moved slowly, one careful step at a time, talking the whole way. "Easy now, I know. I'm scared too, but we can't stay here. Just you and me, okay? One step." He was close now. Fury was shaking, his muscles rigid with fear. Sam reached out a slow hand. He touched the wet, muddy neck. "I'm here. I'm right here." He examined the problem. Fury's front right leg was buried deep in the mud, trapped by a sunken tree root. The horse couldn't pull it free. Sam took a deep breath. He bent down into the cold, dirty water. He used his hands to dig. The mud was like glue. He scooped handfuls away, but the water just filled the hole back in. Fury stood trembling, his breath hot on Sam's back. "It's okay. We're okay," Sam kept saying, his teeth chattering. He dug for what felt like hours. His fingers were numb and scratched by the root. Finally, he felt the shape of the hoof. He dug around it, clearing the mud. He got his hands under the hoof and pulled upward with all his strength. Fury felt the movement. He pulled his own leg. With a loud, sucking sound, the hoof came free. Fury stumbled forward, almost knocking Sam over. Sam held onto the horse's mane, guiding him toward the bank. Fury climbed out of the creek, his legs shaky. Sam followed, collapsing onto the grass for a moment, breathing hard. The rain was slowing. The wind was dying. Fury stood over him, dripping. Sam forced himself to stand. He was so tired. He untied Belle and mounted up. He looked at Fury. "Let's go home," he said softly. He didn't need a rope. Fury fell in step beside Belle as Sam turned toward the ranch. As they walked, something magical happened. The other horses, the ones Sam had already brought back to the pasture, had not gone into the barn. They were waiting, restless, near the broken fence. When they saw Fury, they let out soft whinnies. Fury, walking tall now, moved to the front of the herd. Sam rode behind him, and the horses all followed. Sam Tucker, the skinny kid from Oklahoma, guided 40 horses through the broken fence in the calm after the storm. He led them all the way to the main barn. In the yard, under the weak light of a porch lamp, Buck Sterling was sitting on the ground, his bad leg stretched out. Next to him was a dry, clean Asa. They both looked up as Sam and the horses emerged from the darkness. The horses moved quietly into the barn, wet and tired. Sam slid off Belle's back. His clothes were heavy with mud and creek water. He was shaking from cold and exhaustion. He looked at Buck, then at Asa, who was standing there with his hands in his dry pockets. Buck's eyes moved over Sam. He saw the mud caked on his boots, the scrapes on his hands, the way he shivered. He saw the calm way Fury stood close to Sam, trusting him. Then Buck looked at Asa, clean shirt, dry hair. a face that showed nothing but irritation. "You brought them all back," Buck said, his voice quiet in the damp morning air. Sam nodded. "Fury was stuck in the creek mud. I dug him out." Buck closed his eyes for a second. He took a deep breath and looked at his nephew. "Asa, you said it was suicide to go out there. You said they were just animals. You refused to help." Asa shifted his weight. "It was the smart choice. He's the one who ran off and played hero. I stayed here. Someone had to be ready to call for help if you both got killed." "Help?" Buck's voice was like stone. "The only person who needed help was me, and Sam, and every one of those animals. You were ready to let it all be lost. You were ready to let Sam risk his life alone." "He wanted to," Asa shot back, his mask of calm slipping. "This is his fault anyway. If he hadn't what?" Buck's roar cut through the yard. He tried to stand, but his leg gave out. He pointed a finger at Asa from where he sat. "If he hadn't saved your uncle's ranch tonight, if he hadn't done the work you were too afraid and too lazy to do. I've been a fool. I saw the lies, but I didn't want to see them. The tools, the gate, all of it. You." Asa's face went pale. "You're taking his side? Over family? You stopped being family the moment you chose to lie and destroy instead of build," Buck said, his anger gone, replaced by a deep, final tiredness. "I want you off my land. Today. Take your things from the house and go. Don't come back." Asa stood frozen for a moment. Then his face twisted with rage. He glared at Sam. "This isn't over. You don't belong here. You're nothing." He turned and walked stiffly toward the big house. The sun was starting to rise, painting the sky pink and gold. Sam helped Buck stand, supporting him as they hobbled toward the Tucker small house. Clara and Walter rushed out, their faces full of worry. "Get him inside, get him dry," Walter said, taking Buck's other side. Later, with Buck's leg wrapped and propped on a chair and Sam in dry clothes, they sat in the warm kitchen. Buck looked at Sam across the table. "I owe you an apology, Sam. A big one. I doubted your character. I let poison fill my ears. You have more courage and more honesty in your little finger than Asa has in his whole body. You saved everything that matters to me tonight." Sam looked down at his hands. "I just did what needed doing." "That's exactly it," Buck said. "You see what needs doing and you do it. Not for show, not for thanks. You have the heart of a true rancher. This land, it needs a heart like that." Sam glanced at his parents, confused. "I'm not a young man anymore," Buck continued. "This storm made that clear. I need to know this place will be in good hands. I want those hands to be yours, Sam. I want to teach you everything. Not just about horses, but about the business, the land, all of it. So one day, you can run Big Sky Ranch." The room was completely silent. Sam's mind went blank. "Run it? But you're just the man who saved it," Buck said firmly. "You and your family are home now, for good. This is your future, if you want it." Sam looked at his mother's tearful smile, his father's proud nod, his sister's excited eyes. He looked out the window at the land, glowing in the morning sun. He thought of Fury, safe in his stall. "I want it," Sam said, his voice strong and clear. "I want to learn." In the days that followed, Asa was gone. The ranch felt different, lighter. Sam worked beside Buck every day, the lessons deeper now, about soil and water rights and ledgers. In the evenings, he would walk to the pasture fence. Fury would always come to him. Sam would rest his arms on the fence, and the horse would stand close, breathing softly. The wild anger was gone, replaced by a calm strength. One evening, Buck joined him. They watched the sun set over the mountains. "You know," Buck said quietly, "when you first rode him, I thought you were just tough, but you weren't. You were kind. That's a stronger thing." Sam smiled, a real, easy smile. He rubbed Fury's forehead. He just needed someone to listen. The land stretched out before them, vast and green and full of promise. Sam Tucker, the skinny kid from Oklahoma, was home. He had saved his family. He had found a friend. And he had learned that true power isn't about holding on tight. It's about never letting go of who you are.